So we're dealing with the 33rd surah, the 40th ayat, or simply chapter 33, verse 40 of the Quran with the Q. All right. Muhammad is the father of any of your men, but he is the apostle of God and the seal of the prophets. And God has full knowledge of all things. All right. That's what it literally states. It doesn't say he's the last prophet. All right. So unfortunately, some Moors are the descendants of the founders of Islamic creed, way of life, teaching, and doctrines for some reason unknown to me, which I assume are based on lack of factual basis on the subject matter, continue to assert the untrue that there froze, bro. There we go. Are differences between the Quran of Ali dealing with Islamism and the Quran of Muhammad dealing with Islam. They also assert that there is a difference between the words Muslim and Muslim. Those who arbitrarily promote these claims often, and I believe deliberately do so, do not directly quote, compare, actually analyze the Quran nor the Hadith, statements, or Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad to that of Prophet Noble Jew Ali. A comparative analysis of the Quran with the K and the Quran with the Q would either support or deny their claims, and to this end, I believe is the reason they do not conduct an analysis. I intend to make this a concise and brief introduction to the subject to help foster the open-minded effect of love with the hopes of assisting the universal order of things regarding bringing Moors into the fold of Islam. Specifically, in this case, the author is Brother Jamal. He's saying his daughter and future heirs, essentially, and other interested Moors who honestly desire to seek knowledge in their individual quests or journey to the path to approach a supreme deity and develop deeper comprehension and their existence on Allah. Specifically, the unity of the people is strength, finances, and numbers, and attraction or magnetism, right? So Islam and his position as founder of Moorish Science Temple and our relationship to the Islamic religion. So here's some of the oral statements of Noble Jew Ali that we're about to get into, Brother Rocky and Brother Zilla. All right. Moorish leaders' historical message to America. In connection with the aims, objects, rules, and regulations of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I deem it proper to submit to you a brief statement of our organization covering its inception, rise, and progress of the Mohammedan religion. So this is, which I hope will be satisfactory to you and be the means of causing you at all times to adhere to the principles of love. So this is Prophet Noble Jew Ali's words, as we kept saying when we opened up the floor, the love vibration, right? So we just want to connect you to the principles of love through the Mohammedan religion. Truth, peace, freedom, and justice in your relations with mankind in general. I further most anxiously hope this brief statement will help you to more clearly see the duty and wisdom of at all times upholding those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization, of our prosperity, such as obedience to law, respect, and loyalty to government, tolerance, and unity. So these are the principles. And once again, these no when you think Noble Jew Ali, think Yahshua, think Prophet Muhammad, think Buddha, because it's the same message. So these are bullet points. Once again, these are bullet points just to have in our tool belt. We're going to be talking to brothers in the future. We want to have clear concepts of unity as far as the pecking order of what we're doing is to unite, not be combative with people, get caught up in whatever they, because they go, oh, people is lost. They might hit you with something off the hip. It's going to throw you off guard. Like, hold on, You don't want to get defensive with these people. You want to just, these are nephews, these are sons, daughters, and look at it like that. Like these are children. These are minorities. They have a minor. We went over that, right? The last 2 weeks. What a minority is, a mentality of a minor. You're going to be patient with a child. Once you get this info, we nobles now, we high priests. So when we're dealing with Black, Negro, color-minded people, remember they're minorities. Be patient with them. Figure out ways to, or I'm gonna hit them like this. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes you might not can get to them. I'm not saying you can hit it, but I'm just saying at least be ready to spar a little bit intellectually with them. You know what I'm saying? All right. So when we're looking through the interpretation of the Quran, let's just get some concepts down here. There. Note in the heading of the section, notice how I do not use a vowel. So notice how it says interpretation of the Quran is Quran, right? There's no U. Note the heading of this section. Notice how I do not use the vowel following the letter Q in the translation. This is because there literally is no other letter following the letter Qaf in the actual spelling of the word. The Arabic language has been documented to date back as far as circa 8th century, whereas the modern English language that I am writing in now, and the most of us use in North America, is youthful or new in comparison. This in part is why there are some sounds in Arabic language that have no English equivalent. So that's and this is important even dealing with reading our treaties and any ancient documents. You got to keep in mind that if we're not reading the original intention or original language that these documents are in, we're just assuming, or you're just substituting, oh, he meant that on some slang type tip. So we don't want to lose the original intention or expression about these documents. So it's key to learn languages that are more ancient than English. Those are one of the reasons, right? Modern English, sometime New English, as opposed to Middle English and Old English, is the form of the English language spoken since the great vowel shift in England, which began in the 14th century and was completed roughly around 1550. The time difference between Arabic and the English we use today is approximately 2,350 years. So clearly, it's a big, ancientness with Arabic compared to English, right? As a result of the language barrier, the result of connotation, and I'm pretty sure I went over this with Rocky and Brother Sight, and I would imagine everybody in here would know the difference between connotation and denotation, dealing with what things mean literally, denotation, etymology, denotation, connotation, think slang, speaking loosely. All right. The result of connotation in the art of language, as opposed to the strict adherence to orthology, etymology, semantics, and the like. There are oftentimes multiple meanings or ways to translate the classical text of Arabic Quranic script. This often results in different interpretations of Arabic text into the English language, which I pretty much summarized earlier on why that's important. An example,
in progress.
Brother Toledo, peace and love.
Islam, good to see y'all. See you,
Islam. Good to see you.
Supreme love, Brother Toledo. Thanks for coming, bro.
Oh, yeah, thank y'all for having me. You already know.
Islam. So the English language is often taught in an informed, connotative, colloquial manner, which further distorts and complicates the translation and interpretation. An example of this can be taken from the Quran itself, chapter 2, verse 2, which ends with the word, and here's an Islamic script. For letter transliteration, it is al mitquen. The Arabic language has only 3 long vowels and 3 short vowels. These normally do not appear in original Arabic text, but to help promote the proper pronunciation for non-Arabic speakers, the symbol indicates a short ah sound. Is used called fatwa, the symbol indicating a short I. So think of that like a hyphen. These hyphen, like, so in English, like no hyphen, eh. You put a hyphen over the I, it's I. So it sounds like you're pronouncing it with an E versus a I or dragging it. That's the same principle for Arabic. That doesn't make sense. Please stop me. And
That do make sense. Just like that, a Shay, I think they have like, what are those? Not a hyphen. Is it a hyphen above the E?
on Shay,
It did. It's instead of saying she, a she. You know what I mean? It's a Shay.
right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So continuing with the oral statements from the prophet, I just wanted to kind of interject that and kind of get back to what the prophet Noble Drew Ali was saying in his oral statements. So of course, Buddha had his Ahsoka, Judaism had his Joshua, Christianity had his Constantine, but Mohammedanism had no person of royal rank and power to assist in its establishment and spread. Today, this religion is acknowledged by nearly 250 million souls and extends over an area equal to 1/3 of the globe. From Arabia, it spread eastward over Persia, Turkestan, Afghanistan, westward across Syria, Asia Minor, Turkey, southward to Africa, covering more than half of that continent. It is found in its way to India or Hindustan and beyond to the islands of Sumatra, Java, and Borneo. To the early representatives of this faith, the world's debt is incalculably great, for it was they who transmitted the treasures of Greek literature from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance, who originated the graceful forms of which the Taj Mahal and the Alhambra are the most favorite examples. It was they who contributed to the sciences of algebra, chemistry, astronomy, medicine. They who adopted the Saracen Empire with universities and who built at Baghdad and Cairo the most renowned universities of the world. During those centuries of ecclesiastical despotism, when the Christian church suppressed all intellectual activities, save those that were theological, causing the talent that reduces to supplant the genius that creates Mohammedanisms, did all in their power to encourage that the systematic research in every branch of humanity inquiry. So it was like some glare when I took a picture of this. So I was straining reading. So forgive me for the it wasn't flowing. But essentially, and this is for Brother Rocky and Brother Sightzilla, and then whoever did know what the Moors were responsible for, intricately. Not only did we know how to plan and we taught the European how to run government, but all these universities that people are responsible for, even the original surahs from the Quran. If you read a book called Muslim, the Jews of Muslim Spain, volume 1 and 2, it's going to talk about how when 700, 800, 900s, 1000s, we were putting what's in the Quran, those surahs. Moors were doing that. It was people looking for guidance from the Moors to even create holy books, and this is what we were responsible for. So essentially the Moors created the concept of all holy books, are writing them in a way to like, okay, we need books to give to civilizations so they can have character, morality, structure. The Moors created that concept. Is what I'm getting at. Um,
I forgot what book I was reading. I don't know what book that's in, man. But yeah, during the times of the Renaissance,
mhm,
you know, they was they created multiple holy books during that time. You know what I mean? And which I learned that that you like you said, our religions pretty much are the same. It just we came into it with not the proper understanding. Like when we read the Circle Seven Quran, we was already in the proper mindset to know the understanding of what these words are really saying. You know what I mean? When we read the Bible and stuff in the Quran, we didn't have that same mindset. So now we can go back and read those books, and then you'll see that they all, it's pretty much the same thing. It's equal.
right. Um, so I'm gonna transition to an example of what a word would mean in English versus trying to compare it to something in English and how that doesn't work. So for a more comprehensive presentation, let's look at the word, let the Empress in here. Al mutaquin, or simply mutaquin, also a supportive material familiarized with the English consonant sound of language. So anything that's not a vowel is a consonant. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. Matazamaji Islam.
Islam,
Islam says peace and love.
peace and love.
Peace, Lord. Peace, Mataj Maji.
Islam, peace.
Congratulations, mother.
Thank you.
Wow. All right, so a constant sound and language chart is provided in the book Moorish Mysticism. I encourage you to look into the theories of that script. So that's a book that goes in. I'm not going to assume everybody knows a different, like what a consonant is, but I'm just going to, you have a vowel sounds and you got consonants. So that's the bottom line. A consonant is not a vowel. So it's not A-E-I-O-U. All right. So continuing, the word Mutaqueen has been translated in M.M. McCall's translation as those who ward off evil. So that's the English version of that Arabic word, right? Yusuf Ali translated as those who fear Allah. So Mutaqueen, we have one English translation is those who ward off evil. We have another one, those who fear Allah. All right. So Dr. Muta translated as those mindful of God. So we have three different scholars, quote unquote, that are interpreting the Arabic word Mutaqueen, and we have three different. They're in the same space, but different literal definition. All right. So in the word for word translation, Dr. Shaikh and Dr. Kyrie translated as for the God conscious. All right. So we have four English translations of Mutaqueen. All right. So with this clear example, one may think that these various translations appear to be different, but when taken in context of another translation from the perspective that I am offering you, which I received from the Quran of Ali, or Circle 7, the same verse and word can be translated as the book is a guide for those who are their higher self. All right. So this is what I mean when you're looking at principle. You'll see it's all one. All right. Then we can see how all the translations are not different at all. This is because one who is themselves their higher self, one, wards off evil, two, fears Allah, three, is mindful of Allah, and four, is conscious of Allah. All right, so that embodies all these English translations of that word, mutaquin. So whoever wants to debate over, oh, this word means this, or this is the perspective. Okay, the more is saying that, okay, I'm with all of that. Let's unite because we're gonna be in our higher self. These are the one-liners that Noble Jew Ali put in the Holy Book. And if you are in your higher self, you're gonna go down these paths and on your own as a studious Moor and dissect these books because he just took you to the water. So that divine spark that's within you will navigate how it navigates. You might drift off into cosmology, go whatever you may be your interest individually, but let me not go on it. Let me not drift off here. So we get the concept of how
It seems like it go back to what I be saying, man, in the simplest form, man. Like if it's good, it's good. Because people like to judge people based on what they reading and what they know, which is a good thing. But the complete way is to, see the man, the heart of the man, and see, is this man good? Then obviously what the man is putting in his body is good, right? So it's like that's the simplest word that you won't be able to. I can't disrespect Christianity and Catholics, and especially if they good people. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you just like, wait a minute. So that made perfect sense though. I just like the way it was put though.
yeah. And I'm pretty sure there's nine different natural people on this Zoom. They'll have their own way of how they resonated with that, in their own special way. And once again, we just trying to eloquently spread this to our people and share it in a way where we unite. I mean, that's the whole purpose. And the love vibration, right? So somebody before I continue, somebody at the booth yesterday, I was set up, and I got the Moroccan, our flag, as my table cover, and she was like, "Is this witchcraft?" And I was like, "It depends how you look at it. If you're talking about witch being literal or being a wise woman, then yeah, it's wise woman culture. But is that where you're coming from?" And she was like, "No, I never looked at it like that." You know what I mean? So
Right, right.
rather
Mhm.
than being, and this is an example, rather than being combative or getting defensive,
Right.
because
It
certain people,
is witchcraft, bro. You feel me?
yeah,
If you know what witchcraft mean, yeah, you like,
yeah,
but if you go by, like you said, the kind of that denoconnotative, that's where that stuff kick back in, the connotative, because it's like, are you talking slang or are you telling me like, are you talking denoconnotative? You feel me? Where it's like, like, so witchcraft mean wise women. I mean, a witch is a wise woman, right? A wizard is a wise man. But if you look at it on the slave talk, you'll be like, oh shit, witchcraft, that's evil, man. That's darkness. And so yeah, bro, that's a thin line between that. That's the problem with our people, like what explaining where are you coming from with what you're saying. You know what I mean? Is this, you know, uh basically connotative or denoconnotative? Yeah.
yeah, and that's a live example of what I mean by we're talking to minorities, and we got to be patient with them, and you know, if you're coming out of love anyway, you're gonna be patient, but they might say, I know we might, oh, she disrespected the flag. This ain't no, like, you know what I mean? But that's not, it ain't that deep. Like, you know what I mean? So I wanted to share that because I was a live
That's
situation.
crazy too. It's crazy too because when you say, "Oh, he's a whiz," yeah, he's a genius. Crazy.
Right. So, yep.
Bro, I went to Abdullah Bay, you know what I'm saying, etymology sessions years ago. So, a lot of people don't even do the etymology right. They just do one word, bring it back to Latin, and then they just be done. But really, you look up the Latin word and see the meaning. And then you get the next language, the next language, you know what I mean? And then that's how you get, now you start seeing different meanings, but they all add up. You got to be a thinker. That's what Prophet wanted us to do, to think. Just like you made those 4 different things by those masters or philosophers, all of them does mean the same shit if you know how to think. If you don't, you'll see them different. You know what I mean? So yeah, bro, that's crazy.
Mhm. Yeah. And what's the book you put up, Brother Benjamin Bay?
Etymology and vocabulary by Abdullah L. Talib Mosley Bay.
Yeah.
There it is. There you go.
It has a great breakdown. Like he puts like a 0 in the middle, then you got 1 on the left, 2 on the right, and same as on the other side. And he puts the root word where the 0 is, and then he puts the suffix and the prefix. You know what I mean, to the word. So he kind of like step by step for you. You know what I mean?
It's
So
that exactly, bro. That's what I
like,
be doing. Like when you
like
look up human, people look up
yeah,
the whole word, but you got to break the word down first.
yeah. Like you can
Exactly,
see
bro.
0 like as well, like how you. I can look at a word and okay, cool. I put the 0 here where the root word is, and boom, like you said, witchcraft. Like you said, cool. What's the root word in witchcraft? You know, then you got to know what witch mean and what craft mean. And like you said, a constant.
Yeah, bro.
That
Perfect
W
sense.
there, you know, and then I is a word too. You know, if you want to like really get into
It
the deep,
is.
you know,
Yeah, I was just telling them about the ego. Like that's the ego. It's I.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that, yeah, bro, that's divine right there, bro. Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, man. Islam. That was a
Yeah,
good demonstration, you know, of Brother Rocky and Brother Sightzilla, uh, Von Bay, everybody, whoever didn't know that, that was a good demo right there. And we got a reference point on a book you can look into to go further into that. The brother just presented that, Brother Benjamin Bay. All right,
Yeah,
so
y'all need that book. I got the PDFs too, so I said that in there for y'all.
Islam. Okay, yeah, even better. All right, so continuing with this comprehension or perspective, one may not realize how chapter 2, verse 2, or the second surah, second ayat of the Quran of Muhammad with the Q is directly referencing the nature of the higher self as spoken in Alilu's lessons in chapter 3 of the Quran with the K, divinely prepared by Noble Jew Ali. As referencing above, Ali himself specified the Quran was prepared is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca. So that's talked about in the Quran, Circle 7. And the Holy Quran of Mecca is the one with the Q, you know. So they're not to be looked at separately. And that bullet point is where our headspace need to be dealing with our Muslim brothers that respect the moral science, but they got this small hang up with Prophet Muhammad and that holy book, and they think we gonna mess up their flow with that, and this will get those brothers and sisters over the hump. When you know, and mind you, I talked with a brother, like I say, in New York, and I came from this perspective, and he wasn't combative. He was like, no other Moor has talked about it like that. So from that perspective, and I was telling him like, yeah, you know, I gave him some of Brother Jamal Bay because he, you know, this is his book, this Brother Jamal Bay's book that I'm even referencing today, and he does a nice comparative analysis in that space. So, and me personally, bro, like I grew up in the Nation of Islam, so I have a unique disconnection personally with just the Muslim situation. So I love this aspect of playing both sides for unity play, not playing both sides, but knowing both sides of how they're looking at it and how we're looking at it, how they're looking at it, and how we can look at it from a higher on top of the pyramid looking down and unite everything. Like that brings me great joy to be able to have the tools to do that. You know what I mean? So
Shoot, in my opinion, that's what a wizard is too. Somebody that knows all sides and is cool with everything, life in general. He doesn't single himself out to one way of thinking, you know?
right.
Well, that's the thing, you too. You know, you got to come with your own thoughts. You know what I mean? If you're not studied and you're just listening, then you're gonna go with someone else's thoughts that make sense to you. That's why you have to do your own research and draw up your own thoughts, because and then you'll come to the same conclusion in different ways, which is same thing Mafi said. Me, I always think about how to unite all of us on the things that we agree on and set up a system where we are not talking about the shit we don't agree on. You know what I mean? We already know, like, even in Christianity, I mean, the Magna Charta, that's for their salvation. That's their personal savior. So when you hear the word personal or look it up, that's a private thing. That's your fig tree. And I think the problem with most people is they put the religion of themselves in front, right? And think that's their, so since he's this way, we're gonna assume that the person is this way, but that's not true. You know what I mean? Now we gotta start looking like as a whole, look past the religion, not disrespect it. If it's good for the man, it's good for the man, but look at the man. The religion is perfect. You see what I'm saying? But the man is the problem because, like I said, people just want to share opinions and feelings, but nobody actually wants to, like you said, Murphy and Brother Toledo, the wizard. You know, you got to understand all sides. You know, and once you do that, then now you could do the job of uniting everyone. But if you don't, you're going to cause a division based on what you know. And is it bad? It's not bad, but that's not what is the plan of the Moors. Our plan is to unite. We already united through blood. Now we need to do it civically, right? We need to do it as a body politic. We need to do it as a nation state. Then, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, bro, I'm just,
Yeah,
that was awesome.
yeah, man. Um, so once again, I know brother Rocky, you just got Circle 7, so I'm pretty sure you've read across the part where it says the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca. And real quick, and I want to look at the chat because we got some questions in here or statements. Okay, so Rocky said, please don't forget to put that link in the chat as far as the book Etymology that Brother Benjamin Bay shared and Brother Devon Bay. Oh, it's 9 in the chat in attendance on the 6th and the 8th. Okay, we got some astrology awareness going on here. He got you, Jerry Bay got you with the link, Brother Rocky, in a few moments. All right.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
All right. So continuing, the Quran of Ali can therefore be viewed as a small portion of information. The Quran with the K is short, only 38 chapters. To prepare you for a larger piece of information, the Quran with the Q is 114 chapters, which then prepares you for a larger body of work. The history of Islam from the Old Testament, its revival and unification of Prophet Muhammad from 1610 to 1632, the golden age of Islam, and its spread to Europe, or Island Deleuze, Asia, Hindustan. Jerry Bay back in, he got kicked out. West Africa, of the Maghreb, and the vital role played in the Renaissance period of Europe by the Muslim Moors, Arabs, Hindus, and others. Right, so that's that time frame is dealing with that connection. Because remember, when we're dealing with the Ottoman empires, you got the Muhammad line was a sultan. These were sultans and elected officials of body politics, essentially trustees of body politics, rulers of body politics. And of course, in that sense, when we're dealing with a ruler, we're dealing with a measuring stick, not a tyrant. For anybody that didn't know, the Moorish mind state of what a ruler is. I think that's enough. For today, with that particular. So we got a couple bullet points in our toolbox in that regard. Hopefully everybody was taking notes. Definitely recording it. So I want to reiterate what we're going through last couple weeks as far as, let me see, I got something in the chat here. Islam, brother Divine Bay. We covered what a state is. We covered what a citizen is. Matter of fact, let me go back and reiterate we're dealing with citizen before I continue demonstration here. Did I delete that already? Oh, I thought I had it already queued up. I'm just gonna look up citizen before I continue, just to reiterate before I go into the bylaws by the prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Any questions while I'm looking for this definition, statements, anything?
Islam, was you gonna get an etymology on citizen?
Yeah, we could do that too. But I'm in a law dictionary right now.
Islam. I'll look up in that legal dictionary real fast too myself.
Okay. All right. So citizen, a member of a free jural society. We're dealing with a jural society. We're dealing with a society that's dealing with law and civics, possessing all the rights and privileges which can be enjoyed by any person under its constitution and government. So the constitution and government, or you want to call them bylaws, the people create that. Who are the people? The members / citizens involved in making the body politic go. They're saying, okay, these are gonna be the bylaws for our nation state. All right. Our body politic. That's the constitution and government. And subject to the corresponding duties. Duties mean that's where a prophet says be active, not passive. Now, if you don't do anything else, okay, cool. Declare your nationality. That's better than being asleep. But if you're being active, that means you're a citizen of a body politic, which comes with duties. All right. Which are to be discussed internally on how that's going to be ran with the members in that body or the citizens of that body. All right. So citizens are members. Citizens are members of community inspired to common goal, who in associated relations submit themselves to rules of conduct for the promotion of general welfare and conservation of individuals as well as collective rights. When we go down here, a member of a nation or a body politic. So that's why I said member and citizen is the same thing. If you talk about organization of the same nationality of people, a member of a nation or body politic of the sovereign state of political society who owes allegiance. We should know, we drilled home the last couple of weeks when we look up nationality. What? It signifies your allegiance. Now we're reading what a citizen is, right? So the prophet said, yeah, declare your nationality, but he also said, be active, not passive. So now we're talking about citizenship and what that entails. All right. We breathing, sleeping, waking up, thinking about how we can expand the body, make it operate better. Every day we're thinking. That's why the prophet said genius citizens in the divine warning to the nation. He uses that lingo because that's what we are. We need to become that. How can we genuinely make this thing expand, blow up, for the betterment of our heirs and make it fluid? Any questions before I move forward on that? And did you, brother? You said you wanted to go touch the etymology of that word as well. Is that what you were saying?
Oh no, I was asking Islam. I was asking if that's what you were looking for. I had ended up looking in the legal dictionary at, and it was saying the same thing in a sense. You know, Islam.
Brother Al Moore. Is that somebody? Is that a? No, I thought that was Rocky that changed his name. I'm not sure if somebody just changed their appellation or. I'm,
I think that's brother Al. Brother Al knew it. I don't know. I think I seen that earlier too, but I was like, oh, the love.
Islam, same thing. Hey, Islam to that.
Al Moore. Oh, that's Al Noor. Let me see.
I was thinking the same thing. I wasn't for sure either.
Whoever it is keeping us in suspense over there.
Islam, right?
All right. All right. So, any questions on citizen demonstration? Because I do hear that people get confused about, U.S. citizen, and just by you just using that word, like that's off limits, like or insinuate, and what I'm about to read here from the prophet that he's insinuating when he says citizen, he's talking about U.S. citizen. That's why I went into that before reading the divine bylaws or the divine constitution of Moorish America. All right. So Act 1, the Grand Sheik and the chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet. So when we read the definition of citizen, that constitution or bylaws, etc., is created by that nation state. That is the law for that jurisdiction. So keep that in mind. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on Friday, the first man was formed in flesh. And on Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended into his father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is our holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens. So every time you hear citizen now, you know it means active. All citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put any danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine bylaws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government. Now stop. We're not talking about U.S. citizens. We're talking about any Moorish organization that's created as a body politic and that has bylaws. That's y'all just gonna live by the law of whatever y'all come up with, and that's protected. You're party to that community is protected under the Constitution because now it's a contract, just like a simple family trust. You got a community trust, right? You got trustees, you got beneficiaries, it's the same script, and it's a contract now that's on the public record, and now the probate court can't get in and be like, oh, well, this property or this. That's why it's good to have later in the game. You'll start seeing when we start getting more advanced, we'll start getting assets where the temple or the organization owns it, not just one person, because that has value and it's a jurisdictional line. So no organization of Moorish America, I see, that's why it emphasized it, no organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey thereby. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality. We are teaching our citizens, teaching our people, rather, excuse me, their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted into 1865 during that time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of the uplifting acts of Moorish America. And just to highlight uplifting acts, because that's a comprehensive thing. Once again, uplifting acts would be uplifting your brother, putting our people onto the information in a savvy way. Whether it be allegiance, whether it be dues, making sure you're constantly sharpening your tools individually to be an asset to the body as a whole. You know, these are a couple examples of uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you are entitled to the name faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. So these are key bullet points that we shouldn't just read this like parrots and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna read the divine. Think about what these things mean. Industrious means you're coming up with product. We call it nowadays merch. That's the lingo now, or merch or something. You're pretty much an entrepreneur, right? And you want that entrepreneurism to be reflected with the body. So if we got a bunch of entrepreneurs or people that got things going on in the body, we're an asset to the body, because it's a different mind frame. And you look at any nationality of people, you see they're industrious. You see they got businesses. They're about business. There's nothing wrong with having that mind frame. All right. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Any questions on the divine bylaws on any level? Citizenship. Okay, go ahead.
I like to said citizen, that I put the etymology. That word be good to me. The etymology of citizen in the chat, but when you hear the word citizen, it says inhabitant of a city or town. Thing right here is at the bottom, Act 1. It says before the. So you're citizen, city, or town, and inhabited or city or town. So you go to the inhabitants of Moorish America. So when you hear sea citizen, you like where they're inhabiting. So he's denoting land. So right there. So what does citizen mean? Like member of what? Moorish America, which is land. So
right.
We're thinking that too. So I guess the etymological, meaning of that is an inhabitor of a place. So a citizen is a member of a place. So that place should be an aggregate territory and not, some corporate venue, such as like, Walmart or the U.S. So just bringing that together. So are you an inhabitant of a corporation or you're an inhabitant of a geographical location? But that's what I would like to say as far as citizens goes. An inhabitor of a city or place, but we know those are corporate terms as well. So under city and town, aggregate land, country, country. But I yield.
Yeah, and that's good wisdom because that's where we're getting to part and parcel. That's why that lingo is in here as well, based to add on to what you're saying, because that ties you to the land. You know what I mean? So,
and the laws of that land, like you said, like the citizens that go back to status. So that goes what status of law are we using for that geographical location? So that would be, so what laws are we using for America? So
right.
Not statutes said, corporation said for the aggregate land. So yeah, type that you're saying, yeah. Coaches in the language.
Yeah. And also too, keep in mind you got nation state versus corporate state, which is right. So
yeah,
keep these things in mind too. The differences, the two different types of states.
A corporate state of mind or a nation state of mind.
Right, exactly.
State. Or a state.
That's the next mixtape.
It's the next mixtape. Top of the fall.
Top of the fall. Nation state of mind. First quarter next year.
For the record, been recorded. For the record.
But any questions on that? Anybody? Any other wisdom somebody wants to share on that? Citizen. I was going to read chapter 45 of the Quran, divinely prepared by Noble Jew Ali. Go into a slight demonstration and close out, unless anybody had anything else they wanted to add. So the divine origin of the Asiatic nations. This is chapter 45, once again, in the Circle 7. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and to know their higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for the teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. The Egyptians, who were the Hammatites and of direct descendant of Mizraim. The Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese and Chinese. The Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, the Moabites of the land of Canaan. The Asiatic nations of North, South, Central America, the Moorish Americans and Mexicans of North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, the Chileans in South America, the Colombians, the Nicaraguans, the natives of San Salvador and Central America, etc. All of these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad I, the founding of the uniting of Islam by the command of the great universal God Allah. Continuing with chapter 47, Egypt, the capital empire of the dominions of Africa. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. So we're telling you with the divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between father and son, the dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, the dominion of Cush, and the northwest and southwest was his father's dominion. All right. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in the inhabitants of Northwest Africa, There were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. All right. Now, for our continue, I wanted to go into this demonstration since we know what we just read right now. Okay, we're talking about the jurisdiction of the Father and Son. We're dealing with a demarcation line, which will be this line, which represents the separation of the lands of Father and Son, or Ethiopia. This is Ethiopia right here. All right. So now, what does the Father, or what's so the Father will be more ancient than the Son, right? That makes sense, right? So Ham, the father, was on the more ancient side of Amexem, which the prophet told you is the divine name for Africa. So if we're talking Africa, we just know that goes to the Latin terra, which means land. So the whole world is Africa. So, but what's the oldest part of Africa? Since we know it in that context now. Oh, North America is in Ham's jurisdiction. Mexico, South America. So this part of the world was older. The civilization of humanity created and flourished on this part of the world, then it spread the culture this way, right? So keep in mind that visual. So you have, like I say, these are just tools. Okay, of course we know about the old mechs. Of course we know they got fezzes on. That's another way we can talk about how this is the old world. We know it's, pyramids in the Grand Canyon. We know the Mississippi is it's a man-made river, which corresponds to the Nile, right? We know these things, but here's more tools. And these are coming from directly from our holy books on how we could explain this about how this is the old world. This is the land of Ham. We're not separate people. Hamites, Hittites is all cousins, right? All the Amoroccans is Muslims, the Chileans, the Brazilians, the Mexicans. We're all one people, right? So look at that book as a unifying book. Look at that book as a character building book. And the holy books are also civics books too. Because when you're honoring your mothers and fathers, that means you're working with your people. If you're working with your people, that means you got a body politic. If you got a body politic, that means you're in the flesh asserting your political status based on your connection with your ancestors. And it has a different vibration. I'm gonna yield the floor on that. If anybody had any questions, comments, the floor is open.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Because it's like Noah, Noah's sons, and all that stuff. It seemed like they are Muslims. You know what I mean? Come from
Kind of like for me, because the whole time I thought it was from west to east. Like I thought we came from Asia and crossed over, but you just showed this is the older place. So I was thinking left brain, right brain, because as I'm looking at it, that's what it looks like. And I'm like, dang, on a higher respect, I was like, whoa, wow, this is like the older mindset and then the newer mindset. You know what I mean? When you crossing over, and I was like, oh man, I was like, it was like the opposite way. I thought we were the ones that went across the demarcation line and building homes and all that. And because Papa was like, those secrets stayed over there. They were over there. But it was like, well, they took them over there, and beat us up and colonize our minds. I was like, oh man, wow, that's wild. That makes so much more sense now, coming from this side of the brain to this side of the brain. Making it whole and not just thinking in the whole mindset, but taking those lessons from the East and bringing them back west. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, wow. As you talking, I was like, whoa, wow, dang.
Yeah, man.
And these pyramids, like you're saying, the pyramids here that are older, the ones that are across. and that's when I was like, Egypt is like Alabama and Chicago, all those places are like here instead of like over there, and that makes so much more sense now looking at that map. Thank you so much. So much more sense. Cause I got a map on my wall, and I taped over the corporations and I put the star, more star. So that's what I like to take more star where it would be incorporated. So the whole thing is, Asian, Rocket Empire. So, so I'll be looking at it moving now. I can see, okay, cool. We right. They went seeking. That's why it would make sense George Washington came here. This is where the head is, why we were over there doing our thing across the waters, but they came here, like quote unquote the big dogs. Not trying to say it like that, but we would be the big dogs and be like here, the peaks, yeah. But I yield, but not to blabber on about that. But thank you so much, Dan. That really opened a whole new door for me.
Islam.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Any other thoughts, comments from anybody?
No, my bad. Man, my phone been. I mean, I caught everything, but I think mine's just running like a tad bit behind.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyway, I had I was just tripping on how like when I was studying the bloodline in the Bible, you know what I mean? And it's funny how the names they like so many different sides to the name, man. Like geographically, you can see by the name of the ones that where they were at, where they were located. Just like, for Moab, you got the Moabite. Those all her grandsons and grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? Noah as well. So Noah, his sons, Shem, and all of them, you see that's Shemitic for Semitic. You see it goes back. And then I think Turkey, the capital of Turkey was Shem at one point too. So stuff like that, man. It's crazy how what we say today as Moors is how the name goes back to your ancestors and the land and everything, you know what I mean? So that's why it's very important to have your title behind your, you know what I mean? A Bay, a L, and Day. It's crazy though.
Yeah.
Also, to the Muslim brothers and sisters, because I have Quran with the tangible and one on my phone. Long story short, if you replace Messenger or Muhammad wherever you see it at and put Noble Drew Ali's name there, it'll bring the message. It's literally the same. Like, because, Muhammad was doing the same thing Noble Drew Ali was doing, for us in that state of mind. And I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, Noble Drew Ali said he remembered when he was Muhammad.
Man, exactly.
That
He
goes
said that.
the state of mind. So it's like I remember, because we honor Noble Drew Ali, but we honor in the consciousness of it. It's like don't get caught in the messenger. Don't like this like cool. Like what's in it is going to replenish you. So I was like, yeah. So when you read it, and I do it myself, because I get the updates every day, try to read it, whatever. And if you read whatever the verse is, and when you see those names and you put Noble Drew Ali there, it really brings it to life. Like, oh wow, but we brought you a messenger, these sons. You did not like listen, type deal. So it's like these things and happening over and over again. People just, too distracted to look at it. But and that brings the uniting of Asia. Type deal. Just replace, don't replace like that, but to a modern time when you're reading those ancient books, going back to that ancient mindset, it's like, it's an ancient mindset, but the same principle. And
Yes.
like said this, but grandma said it for a reason, type deal. What grandma said can go for generation on generation, or how to make bread. Grandma said you got to put the water, then the flour, not flour and water. Type deal. Noble Drew Ali or Buddha, Muhammad said, hey, honor your mother and father, or honor, the tools that I gave you, the sky and all that. Not man.
Mm-hmm. That's a great. I love that. I love that.
Moses, like, hey, get rid of the calf, all this stuff. So you keep it. It's like the same consciousness through different vessels. But I yield on that. But
Yeah,
no,
man. It's like the prophet. It's just like this, man. Like how gang banging started. I mean, I always put stuff in metaphors because I be trying to use my own understanding, man. But it's like gang banging. You know, if the ones that started it back then and how they were doing it is not done that way then. You know what I mean? So you had the head then, and now you have a head now. Same energy, right? But different steps. It's something different about it. You know what I mean? It's like as you look at those times, like it's a prophet that came to those people. He was those people. You know what I'm saying? Just like prophet came to us. Like he came literally to us. Now, when we say us, we say that he came to what? The so-called black people. He didn't come to the Muslims. He didn't come to the Muslims. He came to the so-called black people. You see what I'm saying? So that's another thing that we have to understand. But yeah, everything has to go together. Like Prophet said, he cut the head off of Constantine, and some threw up some sand, and 2,000 soldiers showed up, or something like that. 2,000 more rose from the. Come on, bro. Like he told you, he said he was Muhammad. He said he was Adam. He said he was. He said he was Noah too. He said they tried to get on the ark, and he said the key. They took the key. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, he does say he's 5 times stronger, right? So why would someone say they 5 times stronger? And it's not dealing with ego. It's dealing with all of those understandings together into this one thing that which is just putting them all together, making us have the proper understanding of all these holy books. You know what I mean? Is one. They all came from one place.
and not to cut your wisdom, it's literally like a punch. Because like you try to punch somebody with 3 fingers, it ain't gonna have as much power as 5. You know what I mean? Kind of
Facts.
knock in or knock out the ignorance. So it's like, yeah, I'm 5 times stronger. Like when I came through and tried to, gently tell you guys, I guess with 1 finger, or 1 messenger, I went up, came back with 2, then 3, then 4. Like, okay, cool. And now this 5th one, I follow this one up. You're not gonna get away from this one. This was a wrecking ball here. So that made me thinking. I was like, it's like a punching out the BS. It's like, okay, cool. Now it's firm. Everybody's getting a spanking now. Grandma's like, we're not gonna
That's
just
facts.
be spanking everybody now. It's just too
Yeah,
bad.
bro. It was love first, right?
Yeah.
Now it's all of them in one. You know what I mean? Like you're right, bro. Yeah.
Then not justice is taking its course. Like you violated all 4 now. You violated the love, tried to go love, tried to be truthful, bring the freedom, then hey, shame on you now.
Yeah, right. It's gonna be in a conflict that can't be told in words. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Crazy.
Yeah, man. Was you over there pondering, Brother Rocky?
No, I was just taking everything in, what everybody was saying.
What's up, man? I see you in deep thought. I'm just curious what any type of epiphany, light bulb. I want to hear people light bulb. You know what I mean? But you already know, man. I'm Virgo, so I'm very, analytical. But it's a good build, man. So next Sunday at 11, the same bad channel.
Yeah.
So also too, like I said, it's like maybe about 5 people in the pipeline, so to speak, that I've been dealing with at my pop-ups. So as we grow here, I want to look for a physical location. Zooms are cool. Of course, brothers like, that's not in physically in Cali, of course, we'll still continue the Zoom, but just know we're trending towards meeting in the flesh. And that's important on a lot of different levels. Brotherhood, creating habits and customs, and just taking what we're doing serious, then go from there, man. So we'll be looking for a location to physically meet in the near future here. Just keep that in mind. But other than that, we're gonna close out in the prayer if nobody else had anything they wanted to add. All right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, my salvation, my night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Amen. All right, Islam Moors, everybody have a beautiful day. It was good seeing.
Islam.
Islam nobles. Peace and love, Moors. Y'all enjoy y'all beautiful Sunday, Domingo. You know?
Yeah. Peace and love.
Islam.
Peace and love, everyone.
Peace.
Supreme love.
Supreme love.
Supreme.